You Can't Make This Shit Up, Episode 3 with Paul Elam and Tom Golden. Let's see what they're doing.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I am Paul Elam, joined by Tom Golden of menargood.com. Hello, Tom. How are you doing?
Paul, I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Well, I'm doing just as good as I can be. And tonight we're going to do another round of You Can't Make This Shit Up. Because as we know from anybody that reads the news these days knows that you can't make this shit up feeling that you get whenever you read a lot of news stories.
You really can't.
And we've got some doozies for you tonight. Keep in mind, we had a lot to pick from. But what you're getting tonight is the four we settled on. And we are going to start with a tragedy over the Yangtze River Bridge in China. And as you'll see on this video, a woman who was riding this bus that had 15 passengers and a man driving had missed her stop and felt like it was a driver's fault. And she approached him and attacked him, striking him on the head with her smartphone and causing a wreck that sent the bus careening over the edge of the bridge into 250-foot deep waters, killing everybody on board. They've recovered, I think, 13 of the bodies. There's still 2 missing. And of course, the media and even the general public, if you look at the YouTube commenters to the video that's on YouTube, and if you look at the comments to the news stories on this, you will see all kinds of people and the authorities are saying, well, it's a shared responsibility event. A shared responsibility event. A woman attacks a man physically who is driving a bus on a bridge with 15 people on board. A tragedy happens, the bus wrecks, everybody dies, but it's partly the man's fault. Help me with this, Tom, please. Well,
of course it's his fault. Gynocentrism.
And again, you can't make this shit up.
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I mean, you can see the video. I mean, the video is just clear as bell. She's smacking him while he's trying to drive a bus on a bridge. It's like,
and if you look at that video, now there is one part there where he steers abruptly to the left.
Yes.
Putting him in the lane of oncoming traffic. And this is what some people are saying, that was his responsibility, that they said it almost appeared like he was trying to cause the accident. Now, let me tell you, and I'm dying to hear what you got to say about that, Tom. But let me say first that I'm trying to imagine, I'm driving a bus and a woman attacks me. Why on earth would my first reaction be to intentionally cause an accident by steering into oncoming traffic? What would be the rationale for that? Did he even have time to think? Was he just impulsively moving? He had struck back defending himself, but she was continuing the assault on him,
right,
and he abruptly steered the bus. To me, that just seems like a guy that didn't know what to do and just lost control and just started making motions just to be kinetic, just to be doing something in the middle of this assault. But why they are trying to target him as intentionally causing this tragedy is beyond me. I mean, what were your thoughts when you saw that?
My thought was the woman who hit him was primarily the culprit. That, I don't know about you, but when I've been hit before, I'm not thinking straight, and he was trying to block. He was trying to, put his arm up and trying to drive the damn bus and trying to keep her from striking him again. And when that kind of thing happens, I mean, I'm sure that he probably misperceived the situation, overcorrected one way or the other.
And maybe panicked a little bit.
Yeah, it's disorienting as hell you're trying to drive and someone hits you. I mean, that's just bizarre. It's absolutely bizarre. So, my own sense is I'd hold the woman close to 100% responsible.
I'd have to give it 100%. I got to tell you, I think that no matter what happens, from the moment you attack somebody, it's on you.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't care what the circumstances is.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody attacks somebody out on the street and that person turns around and breaks their jaw, which a lot of people would call an overreaction. The law would even call it an overreaction in a lot of cases. Not to me. That when you assault somebody, you can't expect them to act rationally. They're acting defensively. They are likely and prone to, quote, overreact. But that is the sort of thing that happens when you launch a physical assault on somebody.
Once you launch the assault, all bets are off.
We saw that with and I can't even remember the guy's name. He played for, he was a NFL football player. And his fiance was attacking him in
Ray Rice. Yeah.
Ray Rice.
Yeah. And she hit him twice.
She hit him twice, and he cold cocked her. Man, he knocked her out like, yeah. And I'm gonna be honest. I thought it was funny as hell too. She went down like a sack of potatoes. But the thing is, he got crucified for that.
Yes.
But the fact of the matter is, you don't get to hit people with impunity most of the time in life. There is going to be a cost, and you cannot, I don't blame him for what I did. Did I think he hit her too hard? Yeah. But at the same time, he was reacting to an attack.
Yes.
And I think this thing applies in this bus too. I mean, a horrible tragedy. All these people died unnecessarily. Why? Because he missed a stop.
Imagine, Paul, that it had been a female bus driver and a man had hit her in the head with a phone. What would people say?
Oh, it would be all his fault.
Exactly.
There wouldn't be any discussion.
There would not be a question.
And all those deaths would be on his hands. There would be a great tragedy. But the gynocentrism in this, here's what's really funny. Folks, if you follow the link and read the story to this, you'll find in the middle of that story, how they embed related stories. Well, guess what the related story is on this one? It's about misogyny online in China over women drivers.
Oh, God.
This is their related story. And so, okay, 15 people are dead at the hands of a woman who had physically attacked a bus driver while he was driving the bus. 15 people ended up dead. But the real problem we need to take out of this story, the very next thing we need to look at is people making comments about women drivers on Chinese social media.
Yep. Crazy.
You can't make this shit up.
You really cannot. It's also important to know that the reason he didn't let her off was because the route had been changed due to road work. So there was a reason that she missed that stop. It wasn't because he did something. That whole route had changed, and she just didn't realize it.
Well, Tom, you're not suggesting that he has a valid excuse to not give that woman what she wanted.
Well,
he said she wanted off the bus.
How could I even dream of that, Paul?
Wasn't it on him to make that happen for her? And you know what? Nobody on the bus got up to help her. They probably all deserve to die.
Oh, God.
That was what you call a joke, folks. It probably wasn't poor taste, but I don't think it's in any more poor taste than speculating about how this bus driver is at fault for this accident. And it's certainly not in anywhere near poor taste as thinking that the natural follow-up to this story is to read about bad comments about female drivers on Chinese social media. So get mad at me if you want to. I'm just trying to fit in this world.
Crazy. Can't make the shit up.
So what's next, Tom?
Well, man, more crazy piled on more crazy. Cornell University teams up with, how does it read? Planned Parenthood to fight masculinity in boys as young as 12.
To fight masculinity?
That's what the title said. That's what the title said. But now it's $1.8 million funding from the CDC to Cornell to run these groups for 12 to 14-year-old boys, and they're going to teach them how to be good men. They're going to teach them not to be toxic.
Oh, I'm sure.
Don't you be toxic. You've got to teach those boys, Paul. And, I read this article and then went and read some of the related research. And what came out was that what they're really going for is they're trying to stop sexual assault. And so they're going to try and change these boys early in life, and maybe then they could keep them from being sexually assaulting people, right?
Well, of course, they're going to stop sexual assault. So, okay, naturally, they're going to work with young girls in forced envelopment too. They're going to stop.
And that's the kicker, is there's nothing for girls, even though boys and girls actually in their relationships are about equal. And at least the research I've read shows them to be about equal in both victimhood and perpetrators, but they only go after the boys. Can you say that word, gynocentrism?
Yes, I can.
Yes. And here's what I think, Paul. There's probably 1% of males who are, quote, what they call toxic, right? I mean, less than 1% of males are guilty of violent crimes every year, right? Something like that.
Yep.
So they're talking about a very tiny percentage of the population. They want to teach these boys not to be that 1%. But wait a minute. How many girls become prostitutes? What percent of women do you think become prostitutes?
I don't have any idea. Well, and wait a minute. That could be a trick question.
Oh, it is a trick question.
Let's define prostitute.
Having someone pay you for sex.
All right, so 80, 90%?
That's what I thought you might say. And yes, some people would go along with that and say, yep, most of them are.
Yeah, folks, that part, the remark about the bus, that was a joke. What I just said, not a joke.
Yes, and I can understand your perspective. But the research I saw is from this, it's not research, it's a, poll by the YouGov people. They asked both men and women if they had been ever been paid for sex. 6% of women said yes, they'd been paid for sex. 6%. So I'm thinking, where's Janice Whitlock in helping these young girls to not become prostitutes? They become prostitutes at an alarming rate. And no one's doing a thing, Paul. No one's doing one thing.
And that was just, let's call it what it is. That was just the 6% who recognize their transactional sex arrangements as prostitution, as actually taking money.
Yes, and there's a lot more out there who, the whole thing of marriage is basically based on that idea. Sex is a part of the whole deal. The man's providing and protecting is a part of the whole deal. So yeah, and you could look at it from that perspective and say a lot of women are prostitutes.
But I think what you're talking about is that 6% had actual prices in mind.
Yes,
X amount of dollars
and had used those prices.
Yes.
So it's like, isn't that toxic? Don't people think that prostitution is probably not a good thing? And of course, then again, look at it, gynocentrism again, because prostitutes are victims, right? They're the victims. Oh God! So you can't make this shit up, Paul.
They're men exploit women. The women walk away with the money, and the men just walk away with a little sexual release.
Yeah,
but that's somehow exploitation that works one way. No, I tell you, I really, really hate to think about what it means of the parents that would allow their boys to even become part of, who are these?
And they probably don't give them a chance. And the other piece that they talk about is that they're only doing this, or it looks like they're only doing this with the minority kids.
Oh, well, that makes a lot of sense to me too. I mean, listen, you scratch a feminist, you find a misogynist and a racist almost every time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And feminists have not been bashful about targeting minority men
Huh. Well, they're doing it here.
for a
It looks like that.
long
That's
time.
not a sure thing yet, but it looks like it. It appears to be that the population they're looking for, and they're going to do, I think it's like 700 boys are going to be involved in this. What's really interesting is it was supposed to start last summer, and I've been digging and digging and digging, trying to find some results that have come up. Nothing. Zero. Zilch. Silence. So it may have died in the water. I mean, we really don't know yet. And
Well, that would be
Whitlock's
good.
not responding to questions, and neither is the group that's supposed to put the research together. No one's answering anything. So
Because we have a much larger problem, I think, around school teachers and young boys that is getting no attention at all, despite the fact that it's epidemic in proportion. And of course, we live in a society, we've got all these school teachers that are grooming boys for sex, abusing them sexually.
yeah,
And then you go on to sites like the Houston Press, where you can find an article that says the 10 hottest sex offenders that are women.
really.
And most of them are school teachers that have groomed and sexually exploited underage boys. And they rank them by how hot they are.
Gynocentrism, baby.
When we say you can't make this shit up, we're not kidding.
We're telling the very good truth.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy.
How about number 3?
Number 3, and you can't make this shit up, Anna Edwards. Oh my God. Matter of fact, we'll pop a picture of her up on the screen here.
There she is.
Get a look at her big neotinous eyes. So childlike and innocent. Well, she ran over Brian Croxton, a 77-year-old man in Manchester, England, ran over him and killed him. He fell down in the road ahead of her. Another car almost hit him, but avoided him. She ran over him, went down the road, turned around, came back, took a look at him as the crowd was gathering around him as he was dying, and then took off and left the scene. Now, you'd think, okay, there's, vehicular homicide. She was, by the way, on a call with her boyfriend, arguing with her boyfriend when she ran him over.
Yeah.
Yep. On the phone. It was a hands-free call, as though it made a lot of difference in this case. Well, you'd think, okay, vehicular homicide. You would think hit and run.
Right.
You would think all kinds of litany of charges. She was fined 500 pounds and didn't lose her driver's license. She's back out on the roads now. That was what the court decided. And here's my theory, Tom. We already know that women in general just literally get away with murder. They do. They get away with it over and over and over again.
Yes.
But this is almost like a 500-pound fine. That's like, man, they should have bought her a new car and given her the 500 pounds. I mean, as long as they're going to treat it with such absolute indifference to the death of this poor old man, they should have rewarded her a little bit more. But I think as you look at her image and you look at those eyes, which are their classic neotinous features.
Yes.
She looks like just a woe, and I can imagine her turning on the tears in the courtroom and showing those big baby blues or whatever fucking color they are to the magistrate, that probably bought her a pass. Unlike, I think an average looking woman or an unattractive woman would have probably gotten a year or something like that, would have gotten a little bit of time.
Easy.
And at least lost her fucking driver's license. I can't even believe she walked out of there with her driver's license. Now, Once again, folks, we say you can't make this shit up. I defy you to make up stories that are as horrible as this.
What got me, Paul, was in the courtroom as the trial's going on. I think it was probably after the sentence was read. The woman turns to the family of the man who died and mouths the word sorry. Like that. Oh, God. I just cringed when I read that. It's just horrible. In fact, that whole story was so hard to read. This poor old guy, he's like 80-something, wasn't he? He had just gone to his band. He was part of a brass band, and he really enjoyed it. Well, he came out of there, and at the crosswalk, he stumbles, and he can't get up. He can't get up. The first car swerves to miss him. The second one is her 100 yards away. Boom, boom, runs right over him. She thought it was rubbish.
And the court proved she was right.
Okay, exactly. Just, I had the hardest time reading that story. It was just so sickening. Just so sickening that people don't give a shit about that old man, you know? I guess he was a white guy, so that makes it even worse, you know? He doesn't count.
Oh, man. Old white man and her pretty girl with big eyes. Justice never had a chance.
Really, exactly right. Exactly right.
Just as disgusting. Just disgusting.
Pretty bad. Can't make this shit up.
Well, at any rate, folks, it's linked below if you want to read about it.
In all its glory. I warn you, though, this is a tough one to read, man. This is a tough one to read. It's just so sad. Oh, poor guy stumbled. It's like, damn. Oh, well.
Stumbled in front of the wrong bitch.
Yeah, no kidding. You want to do the last one?
Let's do it.
All right. The last one. You know, we usually try and end on a positive note. Unfortunately, tonight,
can't make that shit up either.
We don't have a freaking positive story. This is one more crazy freaking story. And it's a story about a research study on men going with their wives/girlfriends to an abortion clinic to have the abortion. And the researchers, they quote some other research. In fact, let me read you this. Whereas previous explorations of men's abortion experiences described sentiments of loss, grief, helplessness, and victimization, coil and ruin. These are two great researchers. I know these people personally. We've spoken at 2 or 3 conferences together. I love them. And they're really, you know, they go with the facts. They're not ideologues, and they print what they find out to be the truth. Anyway, so that's what they found out, was that men in accompanying abortion, women who are getting an abortion, end up with grief, loss, helplessness, and victimization. That's how they feel. So this researcher comes along, and of course it's published in the Journal of Men and Masculinities, Paul. Do you know which one that is?
Kimmel.
It's Michael Kimmel's journal. Yes, oh good. He's the chief editor, and I guess he's still the chief
editor and pervert.
Even though maybe he's got Me Too'd a little bit, eh?
Yeah, he got Me Too'd. I tell you what, it looked good on him too.
Anyway, yes, it will. These researchers, and we'll use the term loosely, looked at these guys, and think about it. These guys accompanying their wives, girlfriends for an abortion are completely marginalized. They've got nothing. The woman's going to decide whatever she wants, and he has absolutely zero say in anything, right? His natural child...
He better be there to support whatever she does.
His natural child is being aborted. I mean, I've had men come to me who have been upset because they've been through this experience where they've tried to talk their wife into not getting the abortion. And what happens? The wife says, oh, no, I'm doing this. So he's got to put up with this. I mean, this is really very, very difficult place to be. But these guys... they don't look at the grief or the victimization or the helplessness or anything like that. Those are feelings. Men can't have those. What do they look at? They look at their masculinity. And they break these guys down into 5 different categories of masculinity. The first, of course, is hegemonic masculinity. And that means he's John Wayne. He's going to push her around. Everything's dominance over women. He's going to do what he wants to do, blah, 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 blah. The next is complicit. That means you're kind of hegemonic, but you're not really good at it. So you just kind of look up to John Wayne. You don't really do it yourself, but you admire him for having done it himself. And then it goes down from there. And they get down to the very last category, which is reformed. Reformed, Paul. Reformed. Now, I want you to guess what reformed means.
Well, I don't think I have to guess. I think it means that you paid attention to Madame and got your head on right.
That's right. All of those who fell into the reformed category were also the ones who never said word one that was negative about her and the abortion. They agreed with whatever she wanted. Any of the other four categories, they disagreed with her somewhere along the line, and even a slight disagreement throws you out of the bus. That's a bad example to use, but it throws you out, right?
Especially given the light of other stories tonight.
That's what I was implying, yes. So the men are completely and utterly victimized by this research if they do anything to stand up for themselves.
So in other words, if they say anything other than, well, of course, darling, I think it's wonderful that you kill my baby.
That's right. That's exactly right. And they kind of said, well, it's okay for them to disagree as long as they don't tell her about it. So, it's like the only reform you can get is these guys who are doing it because that's what she wants, and that's only what she wants. Crazy stuff, right? Well, it gets worse, but the funny thing to me was, at the end of a lot of research studies, they'll have this thing about conflict of interest, right? And there's at the end of the article said, the authors of this article have no conflicts of interest at all, no conflict. And then the very last paragraph says, the authors disclosed receipt of the following financial support for the research, authorship, and/or publication of this article. This research was funded through the Fellowship in Family Planning Research Fund.
Oh my
Now,
God.
I wonder how much this group coughed up for this research, but I went and found the website.
No conflicts.
I went and found the website of the Fellowship in Family Planning Research Fund, and here's their mission statement. The fellowship's vision is to ensure that quality abortion and contraception are valued as core essential components of women's health.
For more information, see Dead Babies Are Us.
Yeah, really.
.com.
It's like, that's not a conflict? Wait a minute, what the hell? That's crazy. The people who are paying them money to do the research
They're an abortion advocacy group.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just nutty. It's just nutty.
but no conflict there.
Oh my gosh. So, this is one more, you can't make this shit up.
And
I mean, how could they take men who are vulnerable like that and turn them into something bad? It's like, oh my.
And they will use that in the days leading up to the abortion decision. I guarantee you, they will use that to make sure that the men in those situations keep their mouths shut.
Yeah, that's the point.
They will absolutely use it to shame those men into silence. And
I agree.
Yeah, you're right. There was no positive story this time.
Yeah, we struck out. But damn, that was a lot of shit you can't make up.
Well, well, wait a minute. Hold it. I do have a positive spin.
What's that?
And believe it or not, it's on the bus story.
Okay, good. What's that?
There is a positive spin. What they find in China is that feminists are often given a hard time and even arrested by police.
Really?
And there's my positive note for the night.
Huh. How about that? I'll sleep on that one tonight.
And I'll bet you anything the Chinese look west at what's happened in our governance and in our societies in the West, and they're saying, no fucking way.
They think we're crazy. They got to think we're crazy.
And so they're arresting feminists and hassling them. And if we had done that a long time ago, we'd have a better world right now.
Well, if we just tell them to the truth instead of believing the lies they tell, you know.
I don't know, Tom. You can telling a feminist something is like leading a horse to water. You can present them with truth all day long. They don't care about the truth. I would rather honestly see some of their abuses criminalized.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
And handled through law enforcement and the criminal justice system.
And it would be great to see some compassion for men from everybody, you know.
Yes, it would.
That I would really look forward to seeing, although I'm not expecting it anytime soon.
No, well, I tell you what, we got compassion for men.
There you go.
And why? Because there's something about men that I think you're well aware of.
What's that?
Men are good.
Hey, you'll beat them into it. Men are good, as are you, bitches. So good to see you all. Men are good, and we'll see you next time, eh?
Take care, folks. Bye-bye.
Very good. We'll see you. Let's see if I can turn the thing off.
Man, I tried to lead you into saying it.
I know, you did it just perfect, Paul. We'll see you.
So here's one more positive note to end on. Men are good.
We all want more time with our dads, brothers, partners, friends, and our sons. Time for more conversations, more catch-ups, more of what life's all about. Now is our time to make it happen. Together, we can stop men dying too young by tackling the big issues: prostate cancer, testicular cancer, mental health, suicide. It's time to act. Sign up or donate at Movember.com to help change the face of men's health.